eagles fly. Let's beat the squad. Big Pat shelling Dante the dark jive. Drop the stats on him, drop the facts on him. Spur King, baby, let's get it on.
Hey fam, it's your man Dante the DarkKnight. Let me know if you can hear me out there because we're doing something very different today. Pat is not available, as I announced on Thursday's Upon Further Review show. I was going to be in Philadelphia at volleyball training with my daughter. So Pat couldn't make it today, so I'm doing this solo as I'm in the car with my daughter. So let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat room right quick. Today we take on the Denver Broncos. Not going to be an easy task. This is by far but this is the toughest game we're probably going to have this year. You know, I know the others have the name, like the Kansas City Chiefs and the Rams, but Denver is an up-and-coming team, and they are playing good football right now. They're playing at a high level on the defensive side of the ball, and Bo Nix looks like a real quarterback and the quarterback of the future for the Denver Broncos. So we have a test on our hands today, and you know what we've been doing with this offense, the struggles we've been having. We need to see this offense come out and put together a 60-minute game. I would love to see it be as creative and explosive as we've seen last week in the first half and the week before in the second half. I would love to see that creativity, that explosiveness. As a matter of fact, I would say that we need to see that. We need to see that. We need to start to see this offense be more consistent and move and be explosive, as we know it can be. When we look at this offense on paper, we know that this offense is talented. We know that this offense is not playing up to the bar. We need to start seeing it. And I'm putting it all on the offense. What's this play calling? I told you guys coming into this year, my biggest concern was how he was going to do as a play caller. I've seen this script before. I've seen this movie before. I saw it in the year when we had Brian Johnson. I saw it when Nick Sirianni came in and attempted to call plays when he first stepped foot in the NovaCare Center. I've seen the play calling either propel this team or kill this offensive team. I've seen the blame and the responsibility largely, I'm not going to say solely, but largely in the lap of Kevin Patullo. So I'm eager to see what he does. Last week, first half, opening drive, a lot of creativity, a lot of promise. I loved it. Second half, back to the unseasoned soldiers of our offense. Yes, that offense. This town would be up in arms if this team was winless. If this team was winless, 1-3, or even 2-2, this city would be up in arms. Am I lying? Tell me if I'm lying. So we need to see Kevin Patullo and this offense give us a better showing, give us a more consistent showing to perform up to the level that we know that they can perform. This is not only is this a very talented offense, this is a very expensive offense also. You know what I'm saying? This is a very expensive offense. And it's frustrating to see you have a Lamborghini and it's running like a Hyundai or Fiat. I don't know. What's a bad car? I don't know. But, you get the point. It's just very frustrating to have a Lamborghini and it's running like a lesser car. I paid a lot of money for this Lamborghini. I want to open this Lamborghini up. I want to see this Lamborghini go fast. I want all the chicks to be on this Lamborghini. I want the chicks to be attracted to this Lamborghini. We have a Lamborghini that is running like a John Deere lawnmower. That's what this Lamborghini is running. It's running as a John Deere lawnmower. It's that slow. It's not attractive. We got to get it. It has to be better. It just has to be better. Unfortunately, if you're just tuning in, you don't see me on the screen. That's okay. I'm carrying the load right now. I'm carrying the load. I don't know if that causes for a pause moment or not, but Pat had to call out. He's on the inactives today. Pat, hopefully he'll be back by the post-game show. So as I announced on Thursday, I'm in Philadelphia leaving a volleyball training session with my daughter. I thought that I would at least have Pat to help me help carry the show, but he's not here. So I'm going to have to do it alone in the car as I ride home. I didn't know this was going to happen either. I tried to find a place where I can do this, and at least you can see me. But I'm in the car. It is what it is, and so I say that all to say that I don't have access to all of the features that I usually use when I'm in the studio. But I can read the comments sometimes, like right now I'm at LA. So first person in the room is Jeremiah Andrews. He says, "Game day, what up, fam?" What's up, Jeremiah? Daz Dante, I love that name, Dante. Good afternoon, Eagles fam. Good afternoon, Daz Dante. Jack is in the house. He says, "I can hear you, DK. Thank you. I appreciate that." Walter Brett is in the house. Good morning, Eagles Talk. What up? Let's get this win. A win, make it easier after the Phils loss. Oh, man, why'd you have to bring that up? That was so disappointing last night. And hopefully they can bounce back. But right now, we're going to handle the business at hand, which is the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Denver Broncos. And this is a formidable defense that we're going to go up against. The timing of us needing to show vast improvement on the offensive side of the ball comes at a tough time to do so. This is one of those games you would like to see a weaker team kind of, build our confidence by unleashing a improved, motivated offense. We're not going to get that. If we're going to exhibit consistency, explosiveness, creativeness, we're going to have to do it against a stout defense. And if we can do that, that should bolster the confidence if we can do that today. But it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy task. They have good cover corners. The reigning defensive player of the year, Patrick Surtain, second. And he's probably going to be matched up against A.J. Brown all day. So if you think that the narrative for this week, which was A.J. being disgruntled over the offense, usually when this script is written because it's been written the last few years. We've been in this movie before. This script has been written the last 2 or 3 years. Usually after that, we see a resurgence of AJ in the offense. This time, it's going to be a lot harder to do that because he's going to be matched up against, as I said, the reigning defensive player of the year in Patrick Surtain. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think he can do that? Yes, I think AJ has the ability to do that. I think AJ has the ability to match up with the best defensive player in the league. I consider him one of the best receivers in the league. Is it going to happen? Well, a lot of that depends on how Kevin Patullo schemes for this game. A lot of it. I'm placing a large portion of responsibility for this offense in his lap. In his lap. Why? Why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? I don't want to hear the executing and all that. I don't want to hear that. This is the same group of players that have been playing together for the past 3 years. The only difference, they're the constant. The difference is Kevin Patullo. Jalen Hurts has been here the last 2 years. A.J. Brown has been here the last 2 years. Devontae Smith has been here the last 2 years. The offensive line mostly have been here for the last 3 years. And we've seen this offense put up points and be in the top 10 in the league. The biggest change we have here is Kevin Patullo as the play caller. Don't get me wrong. He's been here the last 3 years also, but not as the play caller. I hate to be right. I really do. I hate to be right. But when I said in the preseason that this was my biggest concern, it's proven to be true. My biggest concern has proven to be true. I should develop something for the soundboard that takes us into this segment, this term, which I got from Hugh Douglas off of WIP. Admittedly, I want to give him credit for that, so there's no plagiarism here, or he's not taking me to court. But I'm going into reckless speculation territory right now. Reckless speculation. What is reckless speculation? Reckless speculation is when I give you my speculation on what happens with no hint or ounce of factual information to justify what I'm saying. This is reckless speculation. Right? Totally, this is a great description for what I'm about to do. But this is what I assume. This is what I speculate happened. Because and tell me if you go along with this. If you don't, call me crazy. But all right, the year before, let's start with the Brian Johnson year. Brian Johnson year, we lose Shane Steichen, promote within Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson gets promoted from within. Everybody seems to think that that's a great move. Jalen's quarterback coach, he knows Jalen's been around Jalen. Doesn't work. Total disaster. My speculation then was that Sirianni, too much influence on offense. How he comes to the rescue, gets rid of Brian Johnson. That 1 year experiment, failed experiment at that, is over. How he stomps it in the ground. Brings in a OC with success as an OC and a play caller, and turns the play calling duties over to Kellen Moore. From what we hear, basically told Sirianni, you're not running the offense. Keep your hands off of it. Okay, that's the reckless speculation, I'll admit. All right, keep your hands off the offense. We got a play caller, let him call the plays. Drastic improvement. Not explosive like 2022, but drastic improvement over the Brian Johnson experiment. We win a Super Bowl, as a matter of fact, with Kellen Moore calling the plays. This year, we go back to promoting within. Does that sound familiar? Promoting within, not going out and get another play caller, a proven play caller, and I suspect that that's because of the success that this team had. I suspect that it was because everyone's celebrating in the champagne and having fun and all of that they missed or they felt comfortable with allowing Nick to choose his play caller, his OC. We're finding out that's not good. As we found out with the Brian Johnson experiment, we're finding out right now that that's not necessarily the best thing. Nick does not need to pick his OC, especially an OC in which he has a lot of say over what he does. We don't need that. We tried that experiment. That experiment did not work. Now we're back in the same position we were in. I think Howie was just, wanted to give Nick a little leeway because he just won a Super Bowl. If you recall, we parted ways with Doug Peterson because he wanted a little more control or say, and he didn't get it. He got ushered to the door. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Howie was like, all right, I'm gonna let Nick live now. I'm gonna let him pick his OC. Well, that's not been proven to be the best thing. And I know it's only 4 weeks, and after 4 weeks of last I don't back down. I don't run away from it. That's where I was. That's where I was. I thought that he had lost the locker room because it was a continuation of what we had saw at the end of our meltdown here. It was a continuation of that. I hadn't seen any improvement. But to his credit, Nick turned it around. Those guys really played and went to bat for him and went on a 10-game winning streak after that 2-2 start. So maybe I'm being a little overhyped now, but I just need to see improvement from the offense. You know how you shut me up? You improve the offense. That's how you shut me up. You go out here against a tough Denver Broncos defense, and you have this offense perform up to the potential that we know it has. Again, the most talented offense on paper, I believe. One of the most expensive offenses in the books should be performing a lot better than what we see. They should, and there's been glimpses of it that has me, optimistic. I am optimistic that it can happen because I've seen it. I've seen it last week in the first half. I've seen it the previous week in the second half. I even seen it in the first half of the Dallas Cowboys game, first game of the year. Offense moves the ball fluidly. We have to see that creativity whenever the offense seems to do well. It seems to involve a lot of creativity and the such. So we need to see that. Hello, friend. I've been released from the hospital. Oh, Sulema. Let me read that. Don't ever do this. Sulema, it's great to see you. And her comment is, hello, friend. I have been released from the hospital after being there 4 days. The surgery went well, and I'm home just in time to watch our Eagles play. Can I hear our fight song? Normally you could, Sulema, and I would love to play it for you, but I'm on the road. If you just tuned it in, I am on the road from Philadelphia back home. I had to take my daughter to volleyball training this morning because I had my priorities in order. She comes first. So I've done that. I'm on my way back, and I thought I was going to have a co-host to assist me, but I do not. So I'm not able to access that fight song right now, Sulema. But what I am happy about, I'm happy to have you in the chat room and out of that hospital. We've been praying for you, and I'm so happy that you are feeling better and at home and able to watch our Philadelphia Eagles because that's probably what we've been missing. We need that Sulema energy, and while you're watching the game. That's why our offense is stagnant. Sulema, you've not been there. I'm glad you have the strength now that you can support this team like we need. Because we're going to need everybody. The way this offense has looked at times, we're going to need everybody sending positive energy or vibes through the TV set or wherever. Put your hands on the TV set. Lay hands on the TV. If anybody goes to a black church, you know what I'm talking about. Lay hands on the TV. Because we need all that. We need all of that. This offense should not, there's no way that this offense should look like this. It really should not. It really should not. And then when you see the glimpses when it does not, then you really understand what a dilemma we have. Like, dude, like, this is not broken. These guys are not. Now, don't get me wrong. The offensive line is a little beat up. I'm not gonna deny that. Offensive line is a little beat up, and that's concerning because we do need them to be healthy for this thing to work. So I am gonna acknowledge that. That's out there. But when you see the glimpses of this offense performing at a high level, being creative, moving the ball, it frustrates you more when you see a half like the second half of last week. That frustrates you even more when you see them put up 24 points and then you see them not be able to complete a pass in the whole second half. That's not disappointing. That's frustrating. That's an adjective that's very familiar to Eagles fans, because frustrating means that makes you angry, and that's where we are. We're angry that this offense has not been consistent. We're angry that this offense is near the bottom of the league. Who would have ever thought an offense that's compiled of Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, arguably the best running back in the league, Jalen Hurts, arguably a top 5 quarterback, definitely a top 10 quarterback, A.J. Brown, a top 3 receiver, Devontae Smith, a top 20 receiver. I'm an offensive line that had been one of the best for the past few years. Who imagined to see that offense compiled of those players at the bottom of the league in offensive statistics? That's just crazy. It's crazy, bro. We hand you keys, Kevin Patullo. We hand you the keys to a Ferrari, and you can't go faster than the Volkswagen Beetle. You can't get the Ferrari to go faster than a Volkswagen Beetle. We've given you the keys to Lamborghini. Oh, that's switched up. All right. We've given you the keys to a Lamborghini, and you can't beat a Volkswagen Beetle. Come on, man. Make it make sense. Please make it make sense. I'm sorry, guys. I know you guys are in the comments and saying lots of things, but I'm driving right now, so it's hard for me to be able to do that. And I have my daughter in the car who starts driver education this week, so I have to be an example of how you're supposed to drive. So don't do this at home. Never do a podcast while you're driving. But doubly, never read your text while you're driving. So I can't see what you guys are saying. This is an incredible show for me right now. This is like Kanye West putting on a freestyle concert where he's just freestyling the whole concert. That'll probably never happen. But I don't think, and I love Kanye, but I just don't think he's talented enough to go freestyle that. That's not what he's known for. All right, maybe it's a bad comparison. But I'm basically going off the top of my dome nonstop, as you can tell. Nonstop, no pauses, no breaks, no commercial breaks. And I'm going to talk about my Philadelphia Eagles. Thursday, we talked about all the talk of A.J. Brown during the week. Now we get to see what comes out of that. What comes out of all that chatter about A.J. Brown this week, about A.J. Brown being frustrated. And mind you, he's not the only one frustrated. a quote after the game, someone asked Devontae Smith how he felt about last week's performance, and he had no comment. So AJ's not the only one that's frustrated. AJ is just the most vocal one out of the frustrated people. But don't think that Devontae is happy with the offense and probably his participation in it as well. So there's a lot that has to be answered today. How does this AJ situation pan out today? How do they get their most talented offensive player more involved in the offense? Not only him, how do you get your top playmakers involved in this offense? How do you put points on the board? How do you turn this offense back into the well-oiled machine we've seen it in the past few years? There's no denying we have talent on that side of the ball. And I'm sorry, guys, I am talking solely about the offense, but to me that is where it ends and it begins and ends. I'm sorry. That's where it begins and ends this week for me, is the offensive side of the ball. But I'll talk about the defense because we do have to slow down Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos offense as well. I'm not as concerned with that side of the ball. We are facing one of the best play callers in the history of the sport. It's Sean Payton. I think that he is a brilliant mind. I always wanted Sean Payton to coach the Eagles at one point. Never happened, but that's how much I admire his play calling duties, his offensive mind. And he seems to be doing a great job with that Denver crew he has. Bo Nix is his quarterback. Bo Nix is proven or is showing himself to be a legit NFL quarterback. So it's not going to be an easy task of slowing them down. It's not. But it is a task that I have less concern about with Vic Fangio leading that defense. But here I go again. I can only talk about the defense for 2 minutes before I bring the offense back into it. This offense plays a part today. It does. Because we can ill afford to have a lot of 3 and outs. That doesn't help the defense at all. As great as the defense has played, it doesn't help the defense when you cannot sustain any type of drives, when you cannot accumulate first downs. That doesn't help the defense out. So it's back on the offense again. We really need this offense to step up. They play hand in hand. They really do. If you move the ball, if you give us a couple of first downs, and heaven forbid, put some points on the board, you make the job of the defense a lot easier. You keep them fresher. It's a different playing from ahead than behind. So it goes back to the offense. But in any event, we still have a stout defense. I'm still very, very confident about Vic Fangio and that side of the ball. Kobe Dean is practicing, if I'm not mistaken. Not going to be back today, but we're talking about seeing him very soon. And I wonder what that's going to look like, because our rookie is playing lights-out football. And we probably have the top-rated linebacker tandem in the league at this present moment. So how do you work the Kobe Dean back in? That's going to be interesting to see. I know it's not anything that we have to worry about today because he's not active, but it's something that we're going to have to confront very, very soon. And I'm just curious as to how Vic does it. I'm curious as to how he handles it, but I'm not concerned about how he handles it. That's one coach that I fully feel confident in his decision making and what he does with that unit. I don't, in Vic I trust. I've said this multiple times. Whatever he decides to do, I just have to go along with it until he proves me wrong. He's going to put those players in the best position to be productive and great. So it remains to be seen. I want to see what he does today to get pressure on Bo Nix because of last year. I think the pass rush has been a little disappointing when you look at what we always had concerns about the pass rush. We've always had concerns about the pass rush this year. We lost some key players to the offense last year, and we were wondering if what we had left was going to be enough. And they have not. Basically, right? They've just not been enough. We've been playing just well enough to win, but we've not gotten the pass rush pressure that we desired from this year out of that crew. Nolan Smith is out, so we definitely haven't gotten it from him. Uche, is that his name? Uche? He's shown flashes. I can't pronounce the guy that we got from the Giants. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name right now, but he's been invisible, right? He's not lived up to what we thought we might get. And the other outside rusher, losing my train of thought right now. The other outside rusher, Hunt has not shown the flashes that he showed last year. So this pass rush has been a little disappointment, a little underwhelming, so to speak. And I wonder how Vic is going to dial up the pressure today because we can use that. We can use that. That helps. That helps everybody. That pass rush helps our secondary. Those guys don't have to stick receivers that long when you have an effective pass rush. That helps everybody. So I'm wondering how Vic is going to do that today. What's going to be his method of generating a pass rush? That's going to be important. This is going to be an ultimate chess game, with this being, I think, one of our toughest challenges in this early part of the season. Tougher than the Rams or even the Kansas City Chiefs. The Denver Broncos are playing at a high level. They may be a team that makes the playoffs this year. Some team always emerges. And maybe that's the Denver Broncos. Maybe it's them that are ready to take that next step into the playoffs. So this is going to be a tough battle. We're going to have to roll our sleeves up and go out here and, slug it out. Because that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been doing the first 4 weeks. We've been slugging it out with teams. I know we all want the easy wins. We all like to see the blowouts and things of that nature. We love that. But this year, we've had to slug it out. We have knockdown, drag-out fights where, people are bloody at the end of this fight. And I'm talking about us as well as the other team. Everybody's bloody because we were in there scrapping. So we're going to need that today as well. And I think that slugging it out builds character. And I do look ahead to making the playoffs and realize that we do have time to get this thing together. We do, but we can ill afford to lose as we're getting it together. I love the fact that we're 4-0 and we haven't gotten it together, because this could be easily slipping away had this start been any different than what it has been. 4-0 looks a lot better, and you can afford to work through some of what ails you at 4-0. I'm not going to say there's no pressure, but could you imagine the pressure that would be on the team if they were 1-3, or heaven forbid 0-4 right now? So I am grateful. I'm grateful for the 4-0 start. Even with the mishaps, the flaws that our team is showing right now, I'm happy to be 4-0. And I don't take that for granted either. I know we talked about taking some things for granted on Thursday. We have probably done that somewhat because we've just been a winning organization for this decade. This century. This century, the Eagles have been a winning organization, starting with Andy Reid in the 2000s. He established a winning culture in the Philadelphia Eagles organization. And that culture has, it has lasted over 25 years, thus winning 2 Super Bowls. So we haven't taken anything for granted, but we've been spoiled. I'll admit that. We've been spoiled. I guess that's why we are so short on patience when it comes to seeing your team not perform up to the potential or the level that you see them at. And I don't think that we're disillusioned to think that they're that good, right? They're the defending Super Bowl champion. We're not delusional in wanting to see more out of this team. We would be delusional, say, if this was Washington and all of a sudden we wanted to see them be Super Bowl winners. And that's a shot I'm taking the Commanders, because a friend, a close frat brother of mine is a Commanders fan, and he talks a lot of crap. So, that might be delusional to think that you guys were going to, the Washington Commanders was going to all of a sudden in one off season, catapult us. That may be unrealistic, but it's not unrealistic for us Eagles fans to expect more out of this team, out of this, because we're the Super Bowl defending champions, and not much has changed on that side of the ball. Not much has changed on the offensive side of the ball, whereas we would expect it to look like it looks. The biggest change we've had, and I think that has caused the biggest effect in this offense looking different, is Kevin Patullo. I'm sorry, Kevin. Kevin, I know he watches this show faithfully, and he's going to be mad at me. But Kev, and don't take this personal. I just saw this best advice. The biggest skill you can develop is not taking anything personal. So don't take this personal, Kevin. This is actually to benefit you, to help you, to push you to be better in your job. Emotional intelligence is everything. And the first on the list of emotional intelligence attributes is self-awareness. Kev, I'm just trying to help give you some self-awareness. You need to look in the mirror. You need to look, and in the mirror, bring that playbook with you. Take the playbook to the mirror and look in the mirror and the playbook at the same time, if you could do that. Look in the mirror and the playbook and do a better job. Scheme better plays. Design better plays. Sometimes I'm just baffled that you were the passing game coordinator and the passing game looks like it looks. That baffles me. It really does. But nevertheless, you're sitting in that seat right now, and you hold the keys to our success. If you can get this offense to perform on a consistent level, I think that we will all breathe a sigh of relief. We could all rest a little bit more, knowing that this is indeed the same team that won the Super Bowl. Are you guys with me out there? Am I just talking out my butt? Let me know if I'm just talking out my butt, because I think I'm speaking gospel. I think I'm speaking gospel. All right, look, I don't have any. I can't do the quarter breaks and all that, but you are watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around, as you can see, with no host even on the screen, and we're still having a pregame celebration. Everybody out there getting ready for our Philadelphia Eagles to take on the Denver Broncos today at the Link. Good to be home. It's probably the best place to be facing this team today. But, are we going to be celebrating at 4 o'clock? Or are we going to be, because we're 4-0. And if you have experienced any of the Eagles post-game coverage shows, you would probably, be challenged to guess what our record is, because there's so much complaining going on and concern and anger because we don't see the performance out of our team that we want to see. Even though they're resulting in wins, they don't pass the eye test to us, to some of us. They pass the eye test to me. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful to be 4-0. I know how hard it is to win in this league. So I'm grateful to have a 4-0 record, especially when you look at the teams that we've faced. Yeah, we're winning one-possession games, but we're not winning one-possession games against, weak teams. We're not. We're really not. This is different. This would be something different if we're 4-0 against the Panthers and those lesser teams. That would be something to be concerned about. But we're 4-0 and we've won some one-possession games against some contenders, some playoff contenders. So I'm encouraged over that. I don't take that for granted. I admittedly do not take that for granted. So I'm happy about that. But against this Denver Broncos team, Sean Payton, Bo Nix, and that defense, it's going to be a challenge today. How do we get Saquon back on track? Everybody's talking about A.J. Brown and, getting him involved a little bit more and making him happier. But how do we get Saquon Barkley, who has been, dynamic for us as recently as last year, and has been able to find the running lane this year, and he has fallen way off when you look statistically. Statistically, he has fallen way off from last year. And again, I'll circle back around and mention that our offensive line is banged up, and they've been banged up. Let's not get it twisted. They've been banged up from the beginning of the year. Landon Johnson came into the season with a knee issue, having had surgery in the preseason, and came back very shortly after that surgery. So you can see him. I'm not going to say labor, because that takes a great eye to see him labor. But you see in his statistics that he's not performing at the same level as he was last year. And let's be frank about it. The offensive line as a whole has not performed up to they've not been the dominant force that they were last year. They've taken a step back, so to speak. Whether that that is, well, we know Lane has also been banged up, not finishing the past 2 games. So he's been banged up. So that definitely has played a role in some of this, and we have to figure out how to get past that. That's a part of football. Your team's going to get nicked up, they're going to get banged up, and you're still going to be expected to win. So how do we overcome that situation? Brett Johnson is one of our best backup offensive linemen, but he can only play one position at a time. So I don't know. We have to get we got to shore up that offensive line. We need them healthy. But Kevin, you got to do a better job too. Assuming that if they step on the field, right, you assume that they're going to give you their best effort. And even nicked up, you expect a high level effort from those who suit up. Whether they can perform their job to 100% or not, that's a different story. But if they suit up, we expect you to give us your best effort. And thus far, the offensive line just has not played that same dominant physical. They've not been that dominant or physical force that they've been in years past. So that's a question mark. I'm eager to see this team right this ship, get this ship back on the right path. Because I don't know where we're going. I mean, 4-0, it sounds crazy for me to say that, right? 4-0, and I'm saying I don't know what direction we're going. We're going up. We're moving towards the Super Bowl. I do know that. I do know that this is a process. I do know that. I'm just trying to, let you guys know I'm not totally crazy and being concerned. I do recognize some things. I do know that that's our destination is the playoffs, is the Super Bowl, and in that journey, you do everything you can to win games. And when you look at it under those metrics, this team is doing exactly what they need to do. They're winning games until they figure out the other stuff. Just win. I hate to quote Al Davis, but just win, baby. And they're doing it by any means necessary. So we're going to continue to hope and cheer for that. And we're going to also hope, cheer, and pray that God touches Kevin Patullo's offensive mind and his playbook and bring and resurrect our offense. We need divine intervention. God, lay hands on Kevin Patullo and his playbook and resurrect our offense. Bring it back from the dead. Oh, Lord. That's what we need. That's what we need. Oh, my goodness. We need to see this offense just come alive and play to the level that we know it can. And don't forget now, if this doesn't happen today, we're all going to be mad. And I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't be mad, because this is a professional football team. I'm not saying you shouldn't be mad if it doesn't look that way, but I also want you to realize, who we're going up against. This is not chopped liver. It's not chopped liver. This is a formidable opponent. So, and I'm not saying that to say, to give us the out or the hedge or anything I've said. I still do have to believe that we have that type of offense, we have that type of talent that we can do or inflict damage against the Denver Broncos. A little hesitant because that's not been the recent trend of this offense. So that's where the trepidation comes in, is that, we've not been hitting on all cylinders very consistently. And hopefully we get that together this week. We have 9 minutes to go before kickoff. This is your man, DarkKnight, in the building. Unlike our 10-1 start 2 years ago, then a collapse. We have defense to prevent that at least. But the O has got to go. Yeah, the O has got to go. I'm with you on that, Dion. We got to turn it up. We've got to ramp it up. To get back to my Lamborghini analogy, let's put some high test, high octane fuel. And maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know what Kevin Patullo is doing, but we had a Lamborghini that was going at 150 miles an hour, last year regularly, right? And this year, the same damn car can't beat a Volkswagen Beetle. I'm just taking stabs at this. I don't know. Is he putting the lower grade gas in the car? I don't know. Like, whatever, ask Kellen Moore, what was he putting in the tank? Because whatever he was putting in the tank was working. Get back to that high test, high octane gas or whatever. But, figure it out. Figure it out. We got, you got some weeks. I still think we're going to make the playoffs. So you got some weeks, but let's figure this shit out. Let's figure it out. We got to go. We got to keep this thing going because, it doesn't get easier, right? I know you may think so because after this game, we have a Thursday night game against the Giants. But that Thursday night makes that game a lot more difficult than if it was a regular Sunday game. I don't think the Giants are that great, although they were young quarterback. Jackson Dart led them to a win last week. They lost their top offensive player, Malik Neighbors. So, I don't consider them a big threat, right? But they are a threat in these ways. Number one, they're a division rival. The division rival games are always tough. I don't care if you're 10-0 and the other team is 0-10. It's going to be a tough battle because that's a division rival. I hate the Giants like no other. I really think that's our biggest rival in the NFC East. When you look at the history of our franchises and such, I know everybody says the Cowboys, they haven't been good in a long time. But anyway, so number one, they're a division rival. And number two, it's on a short week. So this is not going to be an easy game just because it's the Giants. We're going to play a tough Denver team today, hopefully get this win. It's going to be a slugfest. And then we're going to have to turn around on short notice and come back and play a division rival. So we can use this win today. We can really use this win and hopefully come in on Thursday and take care of the Giants and get a mini bye. That would be ideal. But it starts with Denver today. It starts with Denver and Sean Payton today. They're a couple years removed from Russell Wilson being the quarterback. And Bo Nix has stepped in nicely. And he's done some damage. He has been playing good football, making good decisions. So we got to figure out a way to slow him down. And then I think the tougher job is to figure out a way to put some points on the board against this Denver Broncos defense. In any event, whatever way we decide to do that, the offense is going to have to play a big part in that. The offense is going to have to play a big part. 12:56, is that the right time? I'm looking at the time on it. All right, I got a red light. I can read some comments. All right, 27-21 Birds. 5 minutes to game. Let's get the predictions in, Jeremiah says. All right, totally agree with you. Same players, but different results. Why? Figure it out. Yeah, it's a nice damn car. Our third option won the damn Heisman. Yeah, yeah, facts, right? Our third option won the damn Heisman. That's a great point. That tells you the level of talent we have on our offense. Our third option on offense is a Heisman Trophy winner. He's the third option. Come on, man, make it make sense to me. I need to see this offense. And the one thing I'll tell you this, the one thing I am encouraged is that we have that talent, right? I don't think that talent has fallen off. I think that talent is still, playing at an elite level, right? So that's where my optimism is. Because I say that because once Kevin Patullo figures it out, we right back in the game. As soon as Kevin Patullo figures it out, as soon as he gets his rhythm, as soon as the light bulb goes off in his head and he gets his rhythm and he gets his routine down, so to speak, because obviously he knows what to do. We've seen it, right? Maybe it's a matter of getting his routine. Whatever his procedure was to call that first half of last week, whatever his routine was, he needs to follow that routine all the time. And maybe, of course, put some more effort in it. Maybe I don't know, maybe that first half or that game last week was a result of him putting in 8 hours of putting that game plan together, and he needs to put in 16 hours. Maybe the 8 hours got him one good half of offensive play calling. Well, put in another 8 and get the other half of great offensive football. Whatever it takes, if it's your routine or whatever, duplicate what you did last week. Get your routine down, and I think once he does that, we'll be okay. Again, I think we have the talent. We got the talent, and I don't think their skills have diminished at all. Any, offensive line a little banged up. Got to throw that out there. But outside of that, the main playmakers' skill levels are still off the charts. So come on, Kevin. We got 2 minutes to game time. I'm your man, DarkKnight. I've been talking for an hour straight. This is incredible. Somebody get this for the record book. Oh, my goodness. Talking for hours straight. This is something that I always admire in overnight sports talkers because they don't get many calls overnight. So they have to talk a lot. And I don't get any calls. And I'm driving, so I don't have the benefit of being able to go to your comments because that kind of fills some time too. So I've been going off the top of the dome for an hour here. Damn it, if I had the darn soundboard, I'd give myself a round of applause. But anyway, predictions are in. I'll give you mine real quick. Oh, great. I'm going to be a homer about it, but I'm going to be very, transparent. This does feel like it's going to be a tough game. That's all I'm saying. It does feel like it's going to be a tough game. Like I said, I'm going to be a homer about it. It feels like it's going to be a tough game. I'm going to say, I'm not going to give a score. I never give a score. But I think that we're going to slug it out. It's going to be a slugfest. And I mean, an even tougher slugfest than our previous games, in which some of them have been very hairy coming down the stretch. But I'm going to give us the nod. It's going to be a slugfest. It's going to be gritty, defensive. Our defense against their defense. I think those are going to be the starring units of this game for each team. But I give us a nod over them. So it'll be us with just a little more than them. I'm your man, DarkKnight. Hopefully we will have Pat back in the post game. I'll definitely be settled and able to be seen in the post game. So make sure you come back, go enjoy the game, come back after the game, and let's talk about it here on Eagles Talk. So I'm your man, DarkKnight. I'll see you after the game, man. Enjoy. Peace.
We go live in 5. handful. Hit him,